Yeah. All right. Welcome back to Joe Podcast. Been a little bit of a break. Sorry, everyone. I was too busy. I got caught out by a friend that I was a politician, so that was a first. Today, when I was thinking of people to have on the podcast, Felix was one of the first people that came up. I think it's super interesting, and I've always wanted to learn about this. Well, I guess introduce yourself, Felix. I don't really know too much about it. I just know that you played esports, or Overwatch, sorry. Introduce yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm Felix, or I guess in the esports world, I was CM. I'm I guess not so recently retired now. Australian Overwatch player. I played in a bunch of different teams over the years. The World Cup team most notably, and a few other teams. Blank, Sydney Drop Bears.
Sydney
Yeah.
Drop Bears. Of course, an Australian
Yeah.
team would be called the Sydney Drop Bears. You know my middle name is Felix?
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Let's just break the ice. What games are you playing at the moment?
Oh, tons of Quake, man.
Quake.
Quake,
Okay. Old
yeah.
school.
Yeah, I've joined all the retirees, just playing Quake lobbies and TF2 again because I played TF2 before Overwatch.
Yeah, right.
Back in the day, that was sort of like my entry point into esports. So I've sort of gone back to my roots there, I guess.
Do you play AAA titles often or not really?
No, man, nah. I like pretty much only play free games. It's pretty rare I'll play a game.
In the last 6 months, I would purchase a AAA title or a $90 game every 2 months. So for me, it was Yakuza Like a Dragon, which I loved. Cyberpunk, not so love. And more recently, Nier Replicant version 1 or whatever. It's a very long...
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
It's the remake from the one from 2010 or 2011, and they've added some things. But Nier Automata is a masterpiece of a game.
Yeah, I think I watched some streams for it, and it looks sick.
Yeah. But in between uni breaks and stuff like that, it's Binding of Isaac, Repentance, or whatever it is. I forget what it's called. I still haven't unlocked most of the stuff in it, and I reckon I've sunk 200 hours in.
Yeah,
I'm not that good at gaming. Well, thankfully, I've got someone who is good at gaming. How does someone get involved in esports?
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's a tricky question because it's like it's all about knowing people. And like I guess my situation back in the day was I playing TF2 and then I met someone in a pub or whatever and they were like, "Oh, come play this pickup game." And then you sort of just play pickup games and you start to get into the community. I guess nowadays, since like the elo systems and rank systems are so like big and like extensive, it's sort of just about getting like you get a high rank in matchmaking, and then people start to know you and stuff.
So, what was your first team?
My first team would have been...
So was it TF2 you played competitively first?
Right. Yeah, so I played TF2. I started playing competitive TF2 when I was like 13, 14. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, so I was pretty young. I was like the kid in the scene. Like I was this like idiot kid that no one really liked. And that was like Div 6 TF2 back in the day, like super low level. Like you're pretty much like pubbers at that point.
Was it an Australian team or with Okay.
Yeah, so all Australian. There's quite a lot of... There's still like 4 divs in Australia for TF2.
Wow.
Yeah, and that game's like super old now.
I'm surprised with esports how big yet small it is in Australia. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, there's like the communities are pretty tight. Like they have some longevity.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to like America or Korea, it's tiny.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, like TF2 is randomly big. CS is pretty big in Australia. Like people froth CS here, man.
Would you say CS is the biggest esport industry in Australia at the moment?
Yeah, I think you have to give it there, right? I think that's where all the culture is.
I don't know too much. I know a little bit. I'm very into Worlds and League of Legends and competitive side of that. It's the only way to enjoy League of Legends, in my opinion, because it's all games have toxic environments, but League of Legends was the really big one where it was publicly a very toxic environment and quite bad. And you had people like Dunkey who would quit League but then you would read the thing he said in chat or whatever it was, and you're like, that's one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. And so there was a really bad cycle in League of Legends, and I can watch Worlds, but yeah. So you then got into Overwatch. Now, when Overwatch came out, I fucking loved it. I played D.Va, Winston, and Zarya. Zarya was my main one.
Yeah.
I just got really good at popping those shields and protecting my boys, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So Overwatch, would you say that's your greatest success in terms of esports, or?
Yeah. I mean, that was like my main thing, sort of. I mean, TF2 was like the precursor, but Overwatch was where I like really committed.
Yeah.
So that was what year did Overwatch come out? Like 2016?
16?
Late 2016. Late 2016.
Yep.
Which was when I was in like year 11. So I saw that a bunch of the people from TF2 were going over to Overwatch because that was sort of like the thing, you know, it was the new class-based shooter.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, it looks cool. Like, it looks fun, so I'll give it a crack. And then, I don't know, things sort of just evolved from there. I don't know, I got pretty good
When did you realize you were good?
At Overwatch?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I was always pretty critical. Like, I don't know. Like,
That's
it's kind of hard.
interesting.
It really depends on the context, because it's like, you know, in the context of fucking Koreans, I wasn't that, you know, stellar.
Yeah.
But I guess, I don't know, maybe probably during year 12, because my parents made me quit for year 12. Quit playing for teams. So I just like grinded ranked, and I got like I don't know, maybe at the time it was the highest anyone had got in Australia.
Wow.
So then when I went back after year 12, I got picked up for, at the time they were called Blank. Now they're merged with Warriors, the what's it called? Rugby team.
Wow.
Yeah. But so I got picked up with Warriors. I don't know where. It's a New Zealand team. It's a New Zealand.
I think it's the Waratahs. I could be wrong though. There's like, that's a funny thing. I think my parents are going to try and listen to this and understand esports a little bit more because my older brother, he's 23, let's say, because a lot of people get picked up and seen when they're 15, 16, and obviously you can't, as a minor, just sign the papers and go and play in a team. You need your parents' permission to sign up. And one of the guys I play Magic the Gathering with 13 years ago was asked to play COD in FaZe.
Yeah.
And his parents said no. So what a crazy life he would have had now if he got into FaZe. And then, I don't know this person's name, but this is kind of the tragic side of it. He would play at an a internet cafe with my brother and his mates. And he got asked to play League for an Australian team when he was 16. And his dad was just like, no fucking way. And I don't know. I don't think his situation was great. And he's just a total, dropkick now. He's not doing anything. Is, you know, like, it's kind of sad and really tragic. But do you think there's still a bit of a stigma in Australia about esports and gaming? I was going to try and split this into two parts, talk about your career, then do the stigma, but I guess we're into it now.
Nah, we'll just flow with it, man. We'll just do whatever. I guess, I don't know, like, Australia's pretty, I don't know, pretty grounded in, you know, footy and, you know, traditional sports. But, you know, it's one of those things, like, as time goes on, technology takes over and blah, blah, blah. And people are becoming more aware of it and are more interested now, I think. People are starting to understand it more now than they did like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like, it's evolved super, super quickly. But we are probably one of the furthest behind in that regard in terms of like how much like parents would know and stuff like that. Because it's a shame, because like 16 is like peak age, man. Like 16, 17.
I bumped into some guys just whilst I was out who were in my year level at school, and I was telling him I was going to interview you and talk about esports and stuff like that. And he goes, he's retired. I'm like, retired? What? He goes, yeah, the esports career is really quick. I don't know what it is, because it's like you've said, when you're 15 and 16, I guess your reflexes are at your best and you're able to kick into it. And I guess that's when you're playing your best. But What happened? It's interesting that you're retired.
Yes. Well, I quit. Like it's sort of like I didn't. I stopped enjoying it so much. It wasn't so much um like a deterioration thing, maybe, but like it was sort of just like I wasn't as passionate about it as much as I was initially.
Right.
Um. So
But the whole industry you're still kind of interested in, would you
yeah.
say?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
interested through different routes now because I'm
Yeah.
doing the same course as you, media.
What are the chances?
And yeah, and I'm thinking of picking up business as well.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm sort of interested in going through that.
Because there's a
Sort of.
lot of entrepreneurial room in esports in Australia,
Yes.
especially. Have you been to Fortress?
I've not been to Fortress.
Okay. I like. Okay, there's a few things with it. It's a couple different businesses all in one. It is an esports stadium. So the top, it's underground. So there's an upper lower floor and a lower floor. That was really confusing. So on the first floor, you've got a stadium, large seats, 200 people, something like that. And then you've got the 5 computers on either side. And so if there
Yeah.
was like a big event there, they could easily host it there and it would be fun and awesome to be at. You go downstairs, and the main area downstairs is just seats, bars, tables, standard sort of bar stuff, and it's the decor is like a dungeon. And just your standard drinks. There's a food menu. There's
Yeah.
also TVs around it to play Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, those sort of party fun games like that. And then like on the room over, there's a stay and play sort of area where you can hop on computers and hang out. There's a couple arcade machines. So we have 3 businesses in one facility: an esports arena, a bar, and now a place to stay and play with your friends.
Yeah.
It seems like they're trying to grab a bunch of different ideas and have it in one spot. I think the most successful application is a place to go and drink and play Super Smash Bros with your friends. Um, People seem to be having the most fun there. Now, obviously, they were open for 4 days and then COVID hit, and
Yeah.
now they're back open. And I don't know, Victoria's laws are pretty strict, and so if something happens during an esports season, that will be just cut and people won't be able to go. So I'll be interested to see when final season for Dota or well, I guess Worlds even for League of Legends. They'll probably stream the Worlds games on that big upper area. But
Yeah.
it's like a sports bar, and you'll see TVs everywhere. When I was there, it wasn't Smite, it was StarCraft that was playing in the background. People are still playing StarCraft too.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck
Yeah.
wasn't there though.
Have you been to GG Easy in the city?
Everyone I know has, but I
Yeah.
haven't. Tell me
Yeah,
about
it's the
that.
esports bar. It's pretty cool, man. It's like it's pretty like it's pretty typical, like exactly how you'd imagine an esports bar.
Yeah.
They have all these like drinks that are like copying stuff from games and stuff like that. But then they have a bunch of screens just like any sports bar, and they're just playing esports instead of normal sports. I've been there a few times because it's like the go-to place to go after a competition in
With all the
Melbourne.
retirees.
Yeah.
That's what you guys called yourself.
Uh, no, but it's sick, man. Like it was cool. I was in there actually, and they were playing one of the games I was playing in the one of the World Cup games. They were
Oh,
doing like a
wow.
rerun of one of my games. I was there with some mates that aren't involved in esports at all. They were like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
So,
Um,
World Championship for Overwatch?
World Cup.
World
So
Cup. Wow.
the biggest.
Break
That's
that
the
down, because is that your biggest high in terms of your career, or
yeah, probably yeah.
break it
I'd say.
down? I'm so interested.
um.
Where was
Well,
it?
so a few places. So the World Cup is like it's kind of separate from your normal like competition. So there's the Overwatch League, which is like the main title league that I never played in. That's sort of based in America, and now it's also in Asia as well. They're not solely in America anymore. But anyway, and then the World Cup is specifically country based. So there's Team Australia, Team US, Korea, blah blah blah. And so I did it twice. So I did it 2018 and 2019. And it's just like, they run trials and everyone in Australia sort of tries out and stuff like that. And then you build the best team you can.
What did you play in
So
Overwatch?
I was flex DPS,
Flex DPS.
which
So
is
yeah, break that down. I know what
like
DPS is, but what does the flex do?
it's just I
Felix
mean
DPS.
it's like it's so there's two DPS on each team. Hit scan and flex DPS. They merge a lot now. Like it used to be a little bit more black and white, but now it's sort of like you both kind of have to play everything. But the uh, hit scan DPS has a focus on hit scan, and then flex traditionally was a focus on projectiles. So like a lot of Genji, Pharah, and then at first, but then eventually, you have to play everything. Like it's sort of like you can't really get by just playing.
I found
Um,
Overwatch is balancing just within the characters. Obviously, there were damage problems and stuff like that. I remember, well, when I was playing Zarya, every single patch, at least in the first, we'll say 4 months, I don't know exactly, seemed to just get nerfed and nerfed and nerfed because the shields were just too strong. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess I played a lot of solo queue, and so it was that. And I remember Roadhog being really good in solo,
yeah.
just
I played a
because,
lot of Roadhog
yeah.
during the Roadhog meta when you could like basically hook people through walls.
Yeah, you could break through
Um,
dimensions and stuff like that. And
yeah, bro. Yeah, no, there was actually quite a big balancing problem with Overwatch that was pretty consistent over the years. I think like every single meta that happened, there was always like at least, like 25% of people that just hated their lives. So
yeah,
that was
it's
a bit
so
of a pain.
hard. Like,
Yeah.
I play Magic the Gathering, and when they just release cards, they're doing a power creep. They sort of have to. Each set has to be a little bit more powerful than the last, just to keep
Same thing
people
in Overwatch. Yeah.
exactly. They have to keep people engaged, and 90% of banned cards in Magic across all formats were the game has existed for approaching 30 years. So let's say 92. 90% of banned cards were banned 2017 onwards.
Jeez.
And so it's absolutely crazy. But then
That's
there's
ridiculous.
then there's errors. So when I first played in 2015, there was a card called Siege Rhino that killed standard. Everyone fucking hated it. There was a deck type called Affinity back in 2008, and people just hated it. Apparently, like if you played back in 20 like with Affinity, you just wanted to kill yourself in competition
Oh, really?
because you play best of 3 and you have 15 cards on your sideboard. So you play one round and then you change that 15 cards to adjust against your opponent and then hopefully win again. But yeah, Affinity was just reliably winning. It was had a first game win consistency of something like 73%, which is
Jeez.
way too high.
That's fucked. Yeah.
Idealistically, it should be 50
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to your sort of career. So what was that like getting put into the world team?
Oh, that was awesome, man. Yeah, like that was sort of, I mean, one of the big things I wanted to do. Because the World Cup prior, I wasn't playing, and that was always sort of like a goal. I feel like for everyone in Australia, that's the goal because that's like the biggest stage you can get on. So
Mm-hmm.
you get the most attention, and I mean that's what you're trying to do. Coming from Australia, it's like really hard to break into the American scene. Um, so that's like the kind of opportunity to do that. It's also cool because it's like the highest level of competition you can play in Australia. So you just want to be able to do that.
Yeah, nice.
And then so the World Cup group stages. So it's broken up into group stages and the World Cup like finals. I guess like the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our group stages in Thailand, and that was like a week-long trip, or maybe 5 days. It was like pretty hectic, like it's pretty non-stop.
Yeah.
And you had to come top 2 in groups to make it to the finals. So we did that. So we made it.
Congratulations.
And so that was cool. This was in 2018, and then the finals were at BlizzCon in Anaheim in the US. So then you go there for that, and we unfortunately drew Korea first, so we got kind of decimated first round in
Dude,
US.
Korea's
But I mean,
fucking
what do you expect?
hardcore.
Yeah,
Like,
we almost took a map though, which would have been nuts.
yeah.
But Yeah, we kind of threw at the end. And then we kind of got roll the other maps. And then the next year they changed the format and it was just BlizzCon. But yeah, like that's sort of I guess the best, like the most exciting thing that happened.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe living in Taiwan with Blank for a bit. That was cool. But
How
that's different.
how big is, I know it's 6 people that play in the game, but in terms of the broader Australian, team, that people that come with you, how big was that team?
So there are 7 players, so 6 and then a sub. We just stuck with the core 6. So the 6 of us, and then our sub sort of just like helped out and did what he could from the sidelines.
Bit of a
And then
coach
you have
assistant.
and then we had a coach, a manager. So officially, what BlizzCon's like, the people that Blizzard pay to go are the 7 players, the team manager, coach, and media coordinator. But we pretty much got a second coach as our manager, so they would work together, and then we'd have a bunch of other coaches from Australia help out, and pretty much anyone that could help out, we'd get to help out. So that's the team they sent. Later in 2019, we didn't do 7 players, and we got another coach for our 7th player. So we sent the 6 players, and we had 3 coaches and
Nice.
media. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So
Would that
sort
be
of
like one coach for DPS, one for tank, one for healing, or?
Nah. So
What does a coach do? It's actually kind of interesting because you people know what coaches do for sport, and how does it? Is it similar to esports? Is it a little bit different, or?
Yeah, well, it's structured in a similar way. So you have your head coach, who's sort of like any other sport, is sort of the
Is there a
everything's.
draft in Overwatch competitive, or do you just pick your characters and jump in?
You pick characters, jump in,
Yeah,
and you
right.
can change at any point during the game. So
Huh.
it's sort of always changing.
Yeah.
So like on first point, you'll maybe be playing pretty much a completely different game to what you're playing on second
So in
point.
League of Legends, it's almost broken into 2 parts: the draft phase and then the playing
Yeah.
phase. And the
Same
coach
with
is
Dota.
only,
Alright.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the coach is only allowed to be there for the draft phase. Otherwise,
Yeah.
they're off.
Oh yeah. Well, with games, your coach is allowed their pre-game, but then he has to get off stage for the actual match.
So what happens pre-game?
Oh, not much. You're sort of just getting set up. Like it's not like an integral part of the game. It's sort of like the coach coming on to give final words before you go out, stuff like that. Most of the coach's job is behind the scenes during practice. They'll pretty much structure strategies, and I don't know. It's pretty much like any sports coach, really. Like the sort of buck stops with the head coach. But then you have performance coaches. You have analysts. Some people's only job is just to do spreadsheets of different shit. And performance coaches. I mean, performance coaches. It's sort of like most people just are performance coaches. But then there are some people that specialize like that. Yeah, for the most part, you sort of have head coach, assistant coach, analysts.
Yeah, right. What type of training goes into Overwatch?
What do you mean, like for the players or for the
players? I guess like with the build up to a world championship, like how does it work? Do they just tell you jump on solo queue, and then on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights you're gonna play as a team? Or
Yeah, well, so yeah, it's leading up to the World Cup. So I guess maybe say the month leading up, it's like you'll probably scrim 6 hours every day, and then you'll have maybe 1 or 2 hours of um like team meeting and like talking and strategy stuff.
6 hours is a long time to play games. I
Yeah.
can't concentrate for that long.
Yeah.
Like,
And then on top of that, you have to do matchmaking. So you'd usually play like 10 to 12 a day,
Jesus
like
Christ.
minimum. Yeah. Yeah, man, that's part of the reason why I stopped, man. I
You
wanted
found
to
that
do
too
other
difficult?
stuff. I enjoyed it when I was doing it, but I just wanted to do other stuff. Like I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
isn't
but
forever.
carpal
And
tunnel or blood clots in your kneecaps
yeah,
and stuff
I
like
had
that.
problems with my wrist as well. I had a problem with my arm. Yeah, it came like I had this problem with my neck that made this problem with my arm, so then I couldn't use my arm, and then I
Jesus.
had wrist problems, dude. Yeah, it's so much
Because
because you always
I've heard in the USA, I don't know the team names, but with League of Legends, what happens is they have a whole house that they all live in. You have certain hours to stream if you wanted to, you know, team practice at this point. But they would have nutritionists. They would have specific times to see their girlfriends. If they didn't have a girlfriend, they weren't allowed to go on dates. You have allocated time to see your family. It was a really crazy structured thing. And I think whether the conditions were actually good, I don't know entirely. There's a high likelihood, though, that the conditions weren't particularly great because it's still a relatively new industry. Like, I say new, but I only know League of Legends numbers, so sorry to alienate you a little bit, Felix.
Cool. Same type of thing.
In 2012, they sold out the Staples Center for their World Championship. That's pretty cool in LA. And then in 2015, they sold out Madison Square Garden, which I don't know how many people have sold out Madison Square Garden, but it's pretty awesome to do
pretty
that.
big deal. Yeah.
Has Overwatch sold out Square Garden or?
Yeah, I think they did. They did Madison Square Garden for the grand final of Val. I think it was Madison Square Garden. It might have been somewhere else.
Yeah.
It was massive, man. Like,
because League
yeah,
of
if you look
Legends,
at
they get all the
pictures,
songs and
sick.
stuff like that. I remember when Imagine Dragons released this song. I think it's called Warrior. Yeah, Warrior. And it goes,
Yeah.
what the heck? This mainstream band has made a song, and then they performed it live at the venue, and everyone lost their shit.
Yeah.
The spectacle is amazing with esports. I do gotta say,
man.
they really know how to entertain people.
The stuff League is doing with all those like the CGI like on the stage.
Yep.
It's like a dragon on the it's
They did a
fucking
cool
nuts.
thing with COVID, like, because they're able to go to China. It was in Shanghai. I
Yeah.
love it when esports is in Shanghai because it's only a 2 hour difference. You're not
Yeah.
waking up at 4 a.m. to watch,
Yeah.
groups and stuff like that. But they had, it's called a volume, which is basically a lot of screens in a big box sort of area, and
Yeah.
they would display something. It's what they do for The Mandalorian, and it's a really
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
really expensive alternative to green screen,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're able
I've
to do
seen
it
it.
live, and they were because it's all fantasy and stuff like that, and they could look like they were on top of a tall building or
Yeah.
in a nightmare realm or whatever they wanted to do. League of
Yeah.
Legends, I love fantasy genres where their world is so massive that anything goes.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Yeah.
sick. Overwatch is still pretty grounded, but I found it really cool. I loved Overwatch when it first came out. I'm a social gamer. I find gaming most fun when I'm playing it with friends and other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, me too, man. Like I don't like playing games. I guess that's why I was always playing like FPS, like multiplayer kind of games.
I played Valheim for like a week with some friends.
Yeah.
But and then people just got busy. I think it was during
Yeah, that game exploded for like a weekend, and then I swear everybody stopped playing it after the weekend.
Yeah, well, one of the guys, actually the same guy who got asked to be in phase, was like, "I'm not going to get it. It's going to be good for a week, and then we're done." He had the foresight. Good on him.
That's what I was thinking.
But we'd play it as a group, and we'd figure out the game, and then when people got busy after Easter, and people would just jump on the server one at a time, I would jump in. I made like a dock for the boys to park their boats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And their building system in that game is not fucking easy. I'll just say that. Like, you have to build support structures and this and that. And I was just like, fuck this. I can't.
Yeah.
It's so boring just by myself. So I stopped. But that's the other thing. Apart from Cyberpunk being a buggy piece of shit, I never finished it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get my way through it because I was just by myself and I was bored as.
Yeah, I can't do like RPG sort of games anymore. Like I used to love like hopping on and just grinding it. Like I played a bunch of Fallout and Skyrim back in the day.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like now I don't know. I just don't play as much games.
I can't stress Yakuza Like a Dragon enough. An exhausted franchise, they just brought it back to life. We've got new characters, new area, just really cool, fun stuff. RPGs, it's often characters with idle animation. They do a little dance with their fists up, then they walk
Yeah.
up, punch, 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 walk back, idle animation. Yakuza doesn't cut between you running around the world and going into a fight. So if you bump into thugs, it just transitions. You pull out your bats, and then all the characters are constantly moving around. So yes, you are picking attacks and stuff like that to do, but it's fluid, constantly moving, and the enemies are super unique. I just love it. And it isn't, yes, there's a lot of sitting there watching cutscenes and stories and stuff like that. First and foremost, it is a story game, then a game afterwards. But if you want a solo game to play Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yeah. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Any fun memories from your overseas escapades or adventures? Thailand must have been pretty cool. Did you get any chance to sit on the beach or enjoy the sun?
No.
No?
Nah, man. Like, I didn't even. None of the places I went to, I didn't do anything, man. I kind of regret it, but it was kind of cool at the same time because you get to like actually. Like, I guess in the case of Taiwan, because I lived in Taiwan for 3 months. That was
wow.
that was the first thing I did out of school.
You know, Taiwan, I don't know if this is true. I remember reading one year that it was the only Asian country with same-sex marriage legalized. I was like,
Real?
Only?
Really?
Yeah. Anyway,
they're all pretty.
let's not get political.
Pretty
Sorry, moving
on. Yeah, but I didn't even see Taipei, man. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I mean, like we lived about like an hour and a half, 2 hour train ride out of Taipei, and we train into the city for our matches, which are in a stadium in Taipei.
Yep.
But we pretty much just go straight from the station to the stadium, and then by the time we're done with the stadium, we'd be too tired to do anything, so we just go back straight back home.
But you just go back home and drink and hang out and stuff like that?
Yeah, not much drinking.
Sorry,
I mean, after we just like we drank twice there, man.
Wow.
Like, yeah, dude.
Wait, so was it Monday to Sunday constantly going, no days off?
Oh no, you'd have like one, maybe two. It really depends on what time of the season.
And you say you were at a house. Was it just like a large house that you hung out in, or was it sort of a?
Taiwan was an issue because we were in this thing called the I Hotel, which is a gaming hotel.
Dude, wait till one of those open in Australia.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty cool, but like, because they sponsored us, so they were housing us, and they had this whole area set up for us in the lobby of all places. So whenever people would come into the I Hotel, we'd be there practicing or whatever.
I think it's worth investing though in the players having a good time. Yes, you're athletes and you got to practice and whatnot. And you talked about not having many days off and finding it exhausting, but you definitely need to invest in the players' happiness, because when they're having a good time and then you'll go to schools or whatever and talk about your experience, you might get other people interested and stuff like that. So yeah,
absolutely. Like, I mean, I don't think having like a strict schedule is the way to go. Like, we had a lot of freedom in Taiwan, but it's sort of like I don't know, you've got your team there and you don't really want to do that. Like, you're pretty, like, everyone's like default is playing games already. Like, it's not like, anyone really wants to do anything else but sort of get better. So and we go to movies and stuff. We go shopping and I don't know, fuck around in the area. Like, we were in like this suburban area.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, we'd screw around a bit, but like, awesome. Yeah.
Gaming exploded during COVID. Like, who didn't play fucking Among Us? And my co-workers, like, I work at a clothes store. I'm not going to say what. Some people don't want to be famous, believe it or not. And they're all cool, good looking, fun people, love their look on Instagram and whatnot. And they were telling me about them getting Discord and having Among Us and playing it like that. I'm like, what?
Dude, I got all my mates who just like, fuck it. A lot of them don't game at all.
I remember. I want you to validate this story. So, Alex, our mutual friend,
Nemo.
Yeah, Nemo. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was telling me a couple of years ago in a lecture. I was asking about you. And he goes, "Oh yeah, it was pretty cool." When we found out that he was going to Worlds, we went to a nightclub and we kept on telling chicks that he was an Australian athlete.
Oh, dude, it was so annoying, man.
That is
yeah.
my type of energy. Like, I love that sort of
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. It was pretty funny. It was like when I was single, they every single time, like I'd end up in an interaction, girl, guy, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like every single interaction, they still do it, man. Whenever I'm talking to someone, they just bring it up. So then I have to explain, and it's like I don't mind explaining, like I'm not embarrassed by it at all. But it's just like this whole ordeal, and they think it's funny as,
Yeah.
and I'm just there like, oh, it's just annoying. Like
Congrats
I
on the
don't even know how
girlfriend,
to
by the way.
respond.
Good job. Or boyfriend, sorry. I don't know. I didn't want to assume.
His girlfriend.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Uh,
I actually had to delete an earlier podcast episode. It was episode 4. I had a guy called David on. Under Shelter Sessions. Do you know him?
no.
Yeah, right.
Google.
It's pretty cool. I think they got on radio recently, which was nice. But he kept on asking me about my stand-up set and stuff like that, and I'm like,
Do you do stand up?
Yeah.
Oh hell, where do you do it?
Well, I'm gonna announce tonight. Oh, you right?
I lost it. All right. Wait, where do you do it?
Anywhere I can. I've been busy with this, and because if I'm not doing this uni or work, I'm messaging people about coming on the pod.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I'm trying to get young people. That's kind of my angle at the moment, and people who are in unique industries and positions. And thanks again for coming on.
Yeah.
So
Announcement.
I wanted to. I'm trying to get people on, but everyone's either doing uni or they're busy doing their thing, or I'd have to pay some people. I still haven't earned a cent from this podcast yet.
Yeah.
In terms of comedy, The Resistance, that's where I've done it. It's this bar near Glen Ferry. And I'll announce my next night. I'm doing the 28th of July.
Yeah.
I'm doing 5 minutes over there, which it's not great. That's all I've got.
Wait, 5 minutes.
Yeah, so it's like a variety show. You come on. So tonight, Lewis
Oh,
Spears
so
is
you
actually.
gotta be like real quick on it. Like
You
it's
gotta be
not
quick.
like yeah.
Well,
I guess that's good. You don't have to spend too much time on. I could never do anything like that, man. That's crazy.
well, I could never play esports. I'd love to get paid to play video games, but I'm just nowhere near as good. So I guess we can envy each other and sit there and.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kept on asking me about my jokes, and I kind of kept on wanting to be like, I want to kind of keep them for the stage, and some conversation pieces here and stuff like that. But we talked about some dirty things, and like he found the formal video I was in mid podcast. He was like, "You look familiar. Where are you from?" He goes, "You're in a formal video." I was like, "Fuck." But
good old formal videos.
Do you reckon it? Oh, so my younger brother, he was in the class of 2020, the COVID year.
Yeah,
and
my sister as well.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Funny world. And I don't know if she told you, but they so they had the cocktail party, and then people were still there with cameras filming stuff. So I don't know if they're going to do a formal video or not.
Oh, what? So they haven't? Yeah, did they not do one last year? I don't even know. I didn't even.
No, they didn't.
They skipped it
Well,
because they did the formal the other day or something.
Exactly. So it was like a cocktail party kind of thing, which is like, I wish my formal was like that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But it's just the biggest horn toot of privilege ever. Like,
yeah, I know, dude. It's advertising though for the school.
It is kind of fun, but it's just people feel jealous for a minute and stuff like that. They're like, I just want to go to Kerry, wear the uniform, have one of those black blazers. Far out. I have heaps of high school stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I didn't love it, but it's an interesting thing. Were people cool with you in high school playing esports? Or did you get a few drop kicks where they were like, fuck off, Felix?
Nah, everyone was cool, man. I don't know. It's one of those things people think people are going to be like actuary about it. I don't. Maybe people did, and I just didn't know. But everyone's cool about it, man. Like, I think people started. I think people took the piss out of it a bit, but I kind of it's just like a gag. But then I think people started to like be like, oh, okay, it's actually he's actually doing something. It's not serious, like he's not just wasting his time after year 12 when I went to Taiwan, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, nice.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So why is, I guess we touched on this earlier, but let's go into more detail. Why is the esports career so quick and over? You
Oh
claim that
yeah,
you're
yeah.
retired.
Back to this. Yeah.
Um, I find it super interesting that, you get picked at 16, you play for 3-4 years, and then the next 16-year-old comes and replaces you. Why?
Um. Yeah. Well, it's so I'd say, to put it into context, I'd say like 16 is like when you start breeding the kids, and then I'd say 18, 19 is like peak. But I
You
mean,
get them
like
on the G Fuel at 16, right?
it depends. It depends on the. It really depends on the person,
Yeah.
because like you have like 30-year-olds that are still kicking, and the way you play the game changes. But since it's like such a new industry, is the younger kids are like better because they've grown up with esports. Like I don't know, when I was I guess for most people when they're like 13, 14, they're not thinking about esports. But now you have kids that are like, oh yeah, like I'm playing competitive video games, and they're fucking like 11 or 12, man, and it's like already on their mind. So they're like they have so much time to come up, um, and they've been bred pretty much since a much younger age. Um, so maybe that'll change over time, and like the whole thing it'll sort of even out.
Because
But
once it gets more popular, I think in Australia, there's very much the chance that governments will be like, you have to be this age to play in.
yeah, well, in the Overwatch League in America, you have to be 18 to sign to be a part of the play in an Overwatch League game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, but some teams will sign like a 17-year-old and wait, like so they can have their hands on them, and then they'll
And
put them
you can
on in a
sign
year.
them at 17 and pay them less at that moment. So when they turn 18, nope, not
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, well, people like they'll just pay them whatever their like salary is going to be the whole time. I don't know exactly how each of those specific cases contracts were,
I'm sure in
but
Korea, the money is pretty fucking
yeah.
good for
But I mean,
esports.
they have to like give them enough money to make them spend a year on the bench with that team.
Yeah.
So, but then most of those kids take it because it's like, oh yeah, I get to go on this fucking Overwatch League team.
You don't need
In
to,
a year.
you don't need to go into numbers specifically, but was there much money in the Overwatch thing for Australia, or
Um, at the
just
top,
in general? Like, are people doing well?
if you're winning, you can do okay.
Right.
Like it's sort of like I'd say it's better than working. It's like better than working. It's full time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's a full-time job, and you get paid roughly that if you're
Well,
winning.
what, you're
But if you're
doing up
not
to
winning,
12-hour days, and then you're
yeah, oh yeah, if we're talking about by the hour, you're severely underpaid.
yeah.
Like you're not. It's all contract based and prize money based.
So that's the
Um,
thing that, like, if I was to look into it and be in management for a team, obviously there's training, but the group has to make money elsewhere, and the team has to be a community, and it has to be followers, and the followers have to be engaged. You need a podcast. You'd need
yeah, it's all media oriented because it's yeah the way cash flow works with esports is real weird.
yeah, right.
A lot of the money comes from big investors. Like it's like one person with deep pockets kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's in Australia, which inevitably causes
Is it
issues. And
even
I
Australians funding it, or is it still people from overseas? Because
mix
mix,
it's
yeah.
so yeah. Sometimes it's sports teams. So one of the I guess like one of the teams I was with was partnered with the Sydney Swans. Which is Direwolves. You know Direwolves
Yeah, I know
from League.
doubles, yeah.
Yeah, that was Sydney Drop Bears. They're like the same thing.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. And that's when I lived in Sydney. So I lived and like our office was in the SCG. And that was with the Direwolves guys. So I know them.
You had an office, so you would just go into the stadium and there'd be a bunch of computers there, and you'd
Yeah, we're in the same building as one of the rugby teams, bro. I'd be outside in my Crocs having a ciggy, and then these fucking like men, bro, these athletes are just like running past me.
Well, you're quite tall. What are you,
Yeah.
6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, 6'4".
Yeah, and like, but these guys are
I was
Jesus.
lanky as dude. Yeah, and dude, they could just crush me if they like touched me.
A few rugby players have come into where I work. Do you know who Nelson Asofa is?
No,
He
I
plays
don't know
for
anything
he
about
plays for
rugby.
Storm. Is genuinely 7 foot tall, built like a fucking brick shit house,
Yeah.
and he just wanted underwear, and so I grabbed it and was like, "Yes, sir, yes, sir." But it's not often that fellas like us are looking up at people, and how small and powerless you feel.
Yeah, I
Tall
know,
people
dude.
problems. Am I right?
Yeah.
Oh, tell me this at uni. At the bathroom, the stall walls aren't high enough. So at the bathrooms. So
Which one?
in the late night study area,
Oh, the late lab. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
late lab,
Yeah. I do know what you mean,
and
actually.
the
I've got the same
toilet
thing in my work.
walls like go to here. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. You like stand up and there's just you just like see the mirror.
Oh, here's something. This is where my mind goes, and this is ultimate power. Okay, at work, it's in a shopping center where I work, and um, what happens is I went to the bathroom that there's lots of bathrooms in the center, so we just go to the closest one. And we went there, and one time I opened the door and there was shit on the walls.
Oh, bro.
It was the grossest thing and it was
That's
bad.
grim.
And it
That's
was at my
grim.
eye level as well, like I just said. So people would have had to reach up to do that.
Oh, dude.
It was
Nah,
gross.
it's just explosive, man.
It
They
was
just got a lot
that
of
bad,
power
yeah.
in their arsehole. Yeah.
Rocker propelled. He launched up and
Yeah.
hit his head on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're wondering where the power comes into this, I told my coworkers about this, but I didn't tell them which stall it was because I've never gone into that stall since.
Yeah.
And like, I'll know which one. Like, if that's the only one left and it's all packed, I just won't go in. I'll just wait till
Yeah.
someone
Fuck
comes back
that,
out.
man. Yeah. Nah.
But I haven't told my coworkers which one. So
Yeah.
any stall they could go in, they could look around and be like, this could be the one with shit on the walls. And that's just my secret.
Yeah. Nice. Gotta play your cards close to your chest.
I told my brothers that one and they're like, that's just mean, Joe. Like, you're the only person that gets a thrill from that and everyone else just feels uncomfortable. I'm like, I guess I am a bully. A little bit. Let's get back to the esports quickly.
Oh, yeah. Fucking people retiring. We didn't finish that.
Yeah, people retiring.
Yeah. Like, yeah, no, it's just like a motor skills thing, is what I was about to get to. Is it's like, I mean, maybe. It's just like you do actually just get slower, is the argument that a lot of people put up. Is like you're not like as quick as these little spastic kids that are coming in. Also, paying like signing someone that's like 26
Compared
that
to
is
16.
compared to someone that is 18, 17, whatever it is, isn't going to be as good of an like long-term investment because they undoubtedly have less time or less potential like for
And
the long
someone who's
term.
26 has needs and stuff like that. And
Yeah, exactly.
requirements
They have
and-
life, man. Like
Yeah.
the thing is with kids is they actually they can spend every second of every day. Like I used to get home from school and literally play video games from the second I get home from school till I go to sleep. Like it,
Jesus.
yeah, because I just it's just what you can do, man.
Did you do all
But
right in year 12?
Oh, I did fine. I did good enough.
Yeah. I stopped paying attention in the last quarter.
Yeah, I didn't
I
do
had
as
some shit go down. I don't like. I'll talk about it with you privately, but I had some shit go down, and I was just like, "Fuck everything, fuck everyone."
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, shit happens in year 12, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually,
Yeah,
like
nah.
I said, when I bumped into those guys earlier, they were sort of the sporty jockey guys, and
Who was it?
do you know Jack Stammer?
Yeah.
Stum. So it was Stum. I don't know how much people want to be known.
Okay,
So
don't worry.
There was two other guys. One guy I was good friends with. I went on year 9 camp with him, and what a blast he was. But yeah, and they were all there, and they were just chatty, and they were like asking questions about you and the whole retiring thing. And I was like, nice, we graduated 3 years ago, and we're still able to talk and chat and be easy. And that's what was nice about year 12 was people just were like, yo, we're all in this together. No point having beef and whatnot, especially with the guys. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think a final note, this may be putting you on the spot a little bit. What would you esports has heaps and heaps and heaps of room to grow in Australia. What would you like to see in Australia for esports like soon? What do you reckon could happen?
Ooh,
Like,
you are putting me on the spot here.
yeah,
I think I used to have an answer to this, but I can't remember what that answer was.
because I saw it when Fortress opened. I was like, this is great. People are going to see esports. But then, like I said, I come in and people aren't going to watch esports there. They're going to get shit faced
Yeah.
playing fucking Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I love a
yeah.
bit of Mario Kart, but
I mean, it's just Australia is one of those tricky things. Really like the only thing is time. Like it's a shitty answer because it doesn't actually do anything. But it's like Australia will catch up, and it is catching up. Like it's not that far behind. I mean, you have big events in the um in all these I forget what the centre's called, in all these places around Melbourne, and it is actually quite a big thing, and all around Australia. But it's just like it just needs time to grow, really, and get some media backing, and once the American stuff feeds into Australia like it always does, or the European stuff or Asian stuff, like um, it'll catch on to something.
you
But
still yeah, you said that when you first got involved with just gaming and TFT initially, you just met people, you're at the right place at the right time.
yeah,
Not everyone gets that luxury, unfortunately.
yeah.
So
I mean, yes and no. I mean, like I met people because I
good. Yeah.
was, yeah. I mean, that's sort
No,
of
you
the
got to
way.
be
Like,
honest about your level. You said that you
yeah,
were really critical about yourself, and I was like, damn, Michael Jordan was saying the same thing on The Last Dance, and everyone was like, he was just so critical, and the competitive drive was next level. But were you like
yeah.
super, super hardcore on yourself?
Nah, I don't know. No, I had a bit of an ego. I mean, you got to have an ego, man.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. It's one of those things because there is genuinely like a score. You have a number put next to your name that tells you how like good you are. At that in those early stages, that gets a lot more cloudy later on. It comes down to like how good you are as a communicator, a teammate. There's a whole bunch of other stuff rather than just like your raw like mechanical or like
Skill level. Yeah.
decision making abilities. Yeah. Um,
Would you
but
consider
yeah,
becoming a shoutcaster? No, don't
nah.
reckon you could
Like
do that.
I'm not that good at talking, man.
Yeah.
Like, um, it'd be cool. I've talked to some people. So I was talking to some people after I quit about it, and I was just like, nah, probably not.
Do you think
Not for me.
owning a team or being involved in management for a team would be interesting, or
Maybe later.
maybe
It's
later?
just it's such a dude. It's like I'll say this with like I'd say 90% of the Australian organizations in Australian esports are like flat out losing money. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's all passion projects, man. And like some of them are making money, but yeah, because like I had one team that took a cut of our prize money, um, and that didn't like
Go anywhere.
even if we won everything, that would not have helped them survive. So it's sort of like for all the people that are investing in esports, it's a long-term investment. Um,
It's like
like
crypto.
they're straight up just going to be looking at like their fucking stocks just drop because all
You,
their money is going
Max,
to their
my
players and
good
for
friend,
everything
Max,
else.
my best friend, Max Levin, you know him.
Yeah, yeah.
Him and I got into crypto. Then a couple months later, he's gotten into it, and that's all we talk about now, just
Oh,
messaging
really?
each other. And he goes, "I've put a 5-year investment in crypto," and he goes, "Oh, yeah, how much?" He goes, $200. And I'm like, "Wait, $200 for 5 years? That's nothing, dude.
Yeah,
Up
what?
your game."
Yeah. I haven't gotten into crypto or anything yet. I've got a mate who I know through esports actually. He's made like 600 grand off crypto, man.
You only make it once you sell it,
Nuts,
though.
dude. Nuts, man.
I think I've made something like $400, but it's like the same thing with my sports bet app. I put $20 in originally, and then I do bets, and then I make money there, and that's the money which I then put on future bets.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm never
I mean,
putting,
that's a good way to do it, right? But you
yeah,
want to do.
because well, you're only losing $20. Um, but yeah, they don't fuck around with gambling in my house either. You just got to be really
Yeah.
fucking careful.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
I'd love to see esports be a cool industry in Australia. I don't know
Yeah.
what to do
It will.
necessarily. It will.
It will. Like it's an inevitability. Like yeah, it will be a big thing. No matter what, everywhere in the world, it will be a big thing. So, like I don't see a world where it isn't. Maybe it doesn't. It might not be on the same level as traditional sports in Australia, but I mean, in other places in the world, it's already like the biggest thing for those
There's
countries.
a big fear of new media and new forms of entertainment and stuff like that. You saw it with YouTubers and how people on the news will be like, "You're making money off gameplay videos and stuff like that." There's that same sort of approach.
Yeah,
And Rick Fox, the NBA player, when he
yeah, I
went
know.
on
Rick Fox,
when he went on the morning show, and he basically was like, "These guys are athletes," and he's a
Yeah,
very successful Lakers basketball player.
yeah,
Um, and they're just like, "What the fuck? You're an athlete. These kids aren't athletes."
yeah,
What a tragic
yeah.
story. Delta
Yeah.
Fox. That's rough.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole big argument. Is like, oh, is esports is it a sport kind of thing? It's like, well, it really doesn't matter at all.
I
It's
didn't
the
want to ask because I know it can grind a lot of people's gears. Like,
yeah, nah, I mean, I understand where people are coming from. It's like, oh, they're not, physically exerting any. I mean, okay. It is actually a physical thing. It's not like you're
it sounds
exerting
fucking
fucking tons of,
exhausting.
getting puffed, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like people say chess is a sport or poker is a sport, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's true. Is
I think
competitive Magic the
golf,
Gathering a sport?
golf probably is, yeah. Like it's so dumb. Like
Yeah.
none, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
think.
I'm glad that you've left on a note of optimism about esports and how it's an inevitability. We just got to wait, everyone. If there's someone who's listening, 3 or 4 people who listen to this podcast and are interested in, esports or that sort of thing, what advice could you give?
Um, just grind, man.
Okay.
I don't
Have
know,
fun
like
with
yeah,
it. Try and have
yeah, have
fun.
fun. Yeah, grind and talk to people. Talk to people. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Start talking to people. Make friends online, and then you'll want to play more. And then you'll meet people through those people. Yeah, it's all
Excellent.
networking.
Felix, where can people find you?
Oh, I I guess Twitter, but I don't know. I literally am MIA on Twitter. CKM_OW on Twitter.
CKM_OW on Twitter. Thank you, dude. It's been real.
Thanks,
Love your
man.
work. Keep it up, man. See you around.